Welcome to No Smoke TV. Today we have a very special guest, Troy Reed in the building, writer, director, and editor. How you feeling today, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, big fella. I'm doing good, man. Thank you, man.
Thank you for stopping by the show. Before we start, I just wanted to let you know that. And I've been meaning to ask you, because I've been doing my research, but I can't figure out, where was you born? Where was you raised at?
I'm from the South Bronx and stuff. I'm from the South Bronx from a project called Patterson Projects.
You from
in the South Bronx?
Nice. Yeah. I'm from the Bronx too. That's what's up. So at a young age, what got you into doing documentaries, stuff like that? I see you had the street stars at a very young age.
Yeah. And what got me into it is because when I used to be hustling, I hustled from probably like 17 to like 25 years old. So, during that time, I like witnessed and heard a lot of stories about like a lot of street legends. You know what I'm saying? I come from the same neighborhood as Guy Fisher.
From Patterson?
From Patterson Project. He's from Patterson, yeah.
I know that.
Yep. Him, a whole bunch of people. So kind of like hearing about those guys, you know what I'm saying? Because I came from the same neighborhood. So the stories that came from our parents was being passed down to us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like today, if kids hear about AZ Alpo, Rich Porter, their parents are talking about it, it's going to be passed down to the younger generation, their kids. So that's what kind of happened with, Nicky Barnes, Guy Fisher, stuff like that. Those stories was passed down to me. And, so once I was hustling, it was kind of like I was meeting all the people that was once somebody in the 70s and the early 80s, but they was now on crack cocaine during the late 80s and the early, pretty much the early 90s and the late 80s. They was now on drugs. So, but you would hear like all these amazing stories about the 70s and the early 80s. And as, being 16, 17, hustling, selling drugs, to 5 o'clock in the morning, just listening to these stories, the moment I stopped hustling, the first thing came to my mind was, I wish I find a way to tell these stories that I heard for the last 6 or 7 years. So that's how I came up with Street Stars.
So you just had like an epiphany and was like, I should start saying these stories on a documentary level?
Well, it wasn't a documentary. It was actually like going to be a magazine. It was like, what form of publication can I tell these stories? You know what I'm saying? So that's how I came up with, Street Stars.
And from Street Stars, you made Game Over.
Yes.
Yes. Like that was like your biggest documentary, period. But
that was the first one. The first one. Me and AZ did that one.
You and AZ?
Yeah, me and AZ.
Wow.
Me and AZ made the Game Over. Yep.
So how do you feel about Game Over inspiring the hood classic Paid in Full?
Well, it wasn't so much the Game Over inspired the hood classic Paid in Full because he was my partner doing it. When I connected with him, he already had wrote a movie called Trap, which is Paid in Full, but it was called Trap.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he wrote that script. Him and his baby mother, them two, they wrote that script, and it was the original script, which was called Paid in Full, like I said. So that was already in motion when I came across AZ. But then I came up with the idea of let's document you directly, and documenting him. He bought into how the whole story started. And when I had him on video, he started telling me about a kid named John and Doo-Wop, and then came Rich, and Rich was in that crew with them. So that's how all that developed into us doing the Game Over. Originally, it was just about him.
Gotcha.
And it just springed into like, A was like, yo, let's just highlight everybody. So that's what we did. And then they coincide with one another because it took us a year and a half to finish the Game Over. But at the same time, he was, Dame Dash had picked up the movie, but he changed it into Paid in Full. So it was like both at the same time.
Wow, I had no idea it had a different name. And what you said the name was again?
Oh, it was Trap.
Trap.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Which the movie Paid in Full became what it is today, which is cool. But AZ had wrote a much deeper script. Much more detailed. I think if they would have shot that version of what he wrote, that movie would be like Scarface, which it still is a good movie. You know what I'm saying? But it would have really, 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 you know, had a different kind of meaning to it to this generation.
Because he was in it. He was basically there. That's why.
Yeah, he wrote it from a spiritual aspect. He wrote it from the aspect of how crack even came into the community. How, you know, he wrote it from that type of aspect. So that movie was a really, if you ever get to, you know, if people can read that script, that was a really good script that he wrote.
So with Game Over, did that help you acquire the deal with Warner Brothers for the docu-series to provide a whole bunch of docu-series?
I mean, yeah, by the time I got to Warner Brothers, I was already about 3 or 4 documentaries in. So at that point, I had the streets on lock, and I was making a lot of noise from city to city, state to state. And then you had a lot of guys also. You know, you had a DVD called All Access. You had French Montana had a DVD, hip hop DVD. The Kid Frenchie had a, you know, I mean, you had a lot of dudes. You know, people don't know that French Montana come really from the DVD aspect. You had Smack DVD. You had Feds Magazine, Don Diva. We had a whole culture going on. So that movement was kind of like Hollywood was like, and rap music was kind of wanted to tap into. You know what I'm saying? Because we was highlighting the core of everything, like rap battles. You know, Smack DVD to come up, Frenchie and Sub-Zero, all those type videos. Those guys was highlighting the core. So actually a record label at that time, they wanted to break up artists. They was going to those guys just from the rap music. You know what I'm saying? They was going to Smack DVD and asking to get the artists on their DVDs. And then you had what I was highlighting was the streets and the gangsters. You know what I'm saying? So all of that movement is what Warner Brothers had saw, and they saw the momentum of it. And it was like, yo, we want in. And, you know, I just happened to be one of the guys leading the charge.
I had all your DVDs too, man. I had the Larry Davis one. I had all of them, man. I had all of them.
Yeah,
I was a youngin when you were doing it. That's why I was like, wow. So when with American Gangsta, I seen you had like a little issue with George Nelson from over there. What was that about?
Me and George Nelson had a little problem because Warner Brothers had stepped to BT 2 years before and had tried to pitch what I was doing in the streets with Street Stars. And somehow, some way, BT went ahead and produced the series American Gangsta. So we had a falling out because it was kind of like, listen, and I tried to gather everybody together back then, like everybody that had something, Don Divas, Fez, everybody, because I was saying they basically was culture vultures. They was stealing what we was doing. And they wasn't in the trenches, they wasn't in the streets, they wasn't going to do the interviews, they wasn't going through the whole process. All they did was come in and get a couple of people that knew somebody that knew the person they was highlighting, and then put a story together. So that kind of was like killing. I saw that it was going to kill our market, because to get what we had, any of those DVDs that anybody was selling across the genre, you had to be knee deep in the streets. You had to go to a ghetto, to a hood. You had to find a store. There was no World Star. There was no YouTube. There was no none of that. You had to go into the trenches to get these stories. And that's how we was able to eat. You know what I'm saying? So when American Gangsta came on, they kind of just jacked it, put it on TV, and then they running that same episode every day, all day. So it's losing the value. Instead of me having all the love that I have for a certain street star, now I'm watching that same story 10 times a day on BET. So the value was going away. So that was kind of like where I felt like, even if y'all are going to come in and take one of us along with you. Take Don Diva magazine, take Feds, take somebody out of the trenches and take them with you to help produce it.
And they didn't. And
they didn't.
And I feel you, man. That would have made me frustrated too, man.
Yeah, you know, that's what corporate America does. But, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, I get it. You know, when I go back and I look at Nelson George, and I go back and I look at a lot of those corporate guys, you know, they all had a journey and they all had a past. They just happen to be in the industry. So I look back now and I go, well, you know what? We were so knee deep in the streets. I was so knee deep in the streets and the trenches doing what I was doing. I wasn't paying that much attention to corporate America. You know what I'm saying? To what could be done in a corporate level. And they saw that vision, so they was able to get to it first.
But still, they should have, like you said, they should have brought somebody with them, help produce it, like you said, or something.
It's like drill music right now. The music business is going to come in and take drill music. You know what I'm saying? But instead of going in the trenches and catch, they're gonna find a clean version of a kid who's making drill music.
You're right.
Instead of going in the trenches and go get a kid out of that neighborhood, who probably is killing bodies, who probably is shooting and doing all that, clean them up and bring them over. But what they're gonna do is they're gonna go find a kid that can be tolerated. You feel what I'm saying? And they're gonna make drill music be what it need to be. Instead of going to go get the first founders and the first kids that's out there, state to state, that's really doing it. And that's how corporate America functions.
Right, and that's sad how they move like that, because they could never bring a brother that really needs it a chance, like
right.
They gonna find somebody polished and everything just to work with. You're right.
Right.
But let's get into what we're here for. Your new book, I
Yes.
Never Met Alpo.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that, bro?
It's a book about a relationship between me and Alpo. Just an intimate relationship between two men who became brothers. You know what I'm saying? I originally went to interview him, and it's something that turned into an interview, into a long conversation, into a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a book about that, just how, I got a chance to know him. And I just wanted to show people a side of him that they never got to see. If you didn't personally know him, you didn't get to see the side of him. And it's something that, many a times I try to tell him, why don't you come off to the world like that? But, he was a true gangster, and, it was really hard for him to do. You know what I'm saying? He'll do it in private with the people who he know and he love, but it was hard for him to do with, just anybody. You know what I'm saying? He always had that, he was always going to be that 24-hour gangster.
So were you saying he was always going to be a 24-hour gangster? But you told me there's a difference between Alpo and Albert. Because that's where you got the title from, right? I never met Alpo. You met Albert.
I met Albert. Albert. Well, when I say that I never met Alpo, meaning for 10 years that he was on that visit in prison, me and him together, I dealt with Albert. Albert was somebody that was reformed. He was looking to come home and do amazing things and be an amazing person. And, kind of find redemption for all the things he done. When he came home, it wasn't something that happened fast, but it was a slow process of him transitioning back a little bit into the character Alpo. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of us might have a family member that's a jail member that we may say, he was a terror when he was on the street, but he went to jail and he cleaned up and he's focused when he wants to come home, and they're different when they go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So in my case, with him, it was like I was dealing with Alpo, this character, this person. But then slowly over the last 5 or 6 years, he started falling back into, getting a little bit more aggressive, getting a little bit more impatient, feeding into what he was hearing about, his situation being a government informant. So that character Alpo started getting prepped and prepared to defend himself. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you started seeing a little bit of the aggression and stuff like that.
So you did not deal with Alpo when he came home like that. He was basically doing his own thing. Everything.
What you mean when he came home?
Yeah.
Oh no, I dealt with him every day. I dealt with him all the way up until he died. You know what I'm saying? But
wow.
His first 3 years while he was home, we was like white on rice. But then the last year and a half, he wanted to do things his way. You know what I'm saying? He saw a vision for the way he wanted to do things. And, because he's a man, I'm a man, you got to let him be. And, when you got love for somebody, you're going to love them regardless. You know what I'm saying? So that was our relationship. So it was kind of like, let me get out of his way and let him do and be who he wants to, be and what he see for himself. So, like brothers, you may you got a brother, if you got a brother or sister, you may not speak every day, but you speak and check in on one another and make sure you're good. So our last year and a half, that's how he was, where, you know, every other week, you know, once a month, we just check with each other, make sure we're good. But, you know, he was doing him and I was doing me.
So you said you think he was falling back into like the hustling stuff and all that when he came home?
I mean, I didn't find that out probably to the last 2 or 3 months, you know what I'm saying, that before he passed. You know, that's when I started finding out, like, okay, you know, he was doing things. You know what I'm saying? Like, what he was doing, I don't know, I won't say, but, you know, he was doing things because, you know, he had to make a living. You feel what I'm saying? So what he was expecting to work for him as far as, like, you know, the industry and his movies and his books and this and that, you know, it wasn't moving as fast. And sometimes when you're in that lane, you're in a positive lane, it takes patience. You know what I'm saying? It takes patience and it takes time. And in his mind, he had to do some things that had to take place now.
Gotcha. He needed money now. He needed to make things happen now.
Yeah, he just needed to do things now. You know, you gotta remember, he's Alpo. You know, he got a big mind, big character, and you know, he got a big lifestyle. So he wants to, you know, he's used to something. You see what I'm saying? He's not used to what the average dude is used to. You know what I'm saying? So he wants to. Yes, exactly.
Did he know about the book you just recently dropped? Did he know about you dropping it?
I mean, he's dead, so he couldn't have known that.
No, I'm saying though, but I know that book been in the works for a while though. I know you've been working on that book before he passed. Did you tell him about it?
No. My book I wrote in 6 months. I wrote from the time he died.
Wow.
And I just started writing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never, you know, I always helped him with anything that he wanted done. But what I wrote started from the moment he died. And after speaking to my wife, a few people, you know, who's telling me like, yo, you know, let it out. Like, express yourself, express your relationship with him. Let the world see who he was. I mean, I was going to just, you know, chalk it up. It's what it is and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I just wanted to leave it alone and just, you know, move on to something else. But, you know, with the encouragement from, you know, the people he was locked up with, encouragers, like I said, from my wife and other people, it was like, all right, well, let me get it out my system. So I started writing, and in less than like 6 months, you know, we was able to put it together.
Yo, I gotta give you a props for that. 6 months.
Yeah, it was 6 months.
It take years. People that take a year and years of change to write a book.
Yeah.
You should should get into that thing. I'm waiting for the part 2.
Oh, yeah. It's some work though. It's a lot of work that goes into it, you know, and you got to sit still. You got to have a support team. You have people to respect how you sit still, to be there for you when you're sitting still. So my hats go off to any author, any writer, anybody that's putting that work in as a writer. So it's a different animal.
That's a different animal because it takes a lot of patience, correct?
Much respect to anybody that's an author.
But yes. I see from like your journey and your history that you have a passion for Alpo, like his story, not particularly Alpo, but his story. You have a passion for him. What kind of person would you say Alpo is? Is he like an understanding, cool guy, or is he like aggressive? He wants things done his way, like it's straight, like a gangster. What kind of person would you say he is? Because I see you have a passion for him as a person. I got a passion for anybody and everybody. Anybody. You gotta remember, when I used to do stories, I didn't really the world is different and I respect it. But I didn't just go grab some information and then start talking about somebody or writing about somebody. I went and met that person. I went and spent time with that person. And to do a documentary, it takes like a year to 8 months to do a documentary. So you got to go meet that person's mother, that person's father, that person's children. You know, you building actually a deep relationship with them. And if they dead, then you're getting to know their family members and everybody else. So, are they in jail? So you're going to visit them. You're going to sit down and talk with them. So, you know, that passion, it wasn't so much that I got a passion for him. I just spent a long time with him than pretty much anybody else. You see what I'm saying? So I've had the same relationship with probably anybody I ever did a documentary with, but his just was over a long duration of time. And then, not to take away nothing from anybody else, he just happened to be a really likable person.
He just happened to be a really unique and different person. So that goes for anybody that came in his presence, that met him. And it starts not from me, it starts all the way back to Wayne Perry and the dudes that was running with him. They saw something special in him. Regardless of what he did, they saw something to get in pocket with him. All the way to the district's attorneys when he got arrested, all the way to the feds and the cops, all the way to his lawyer, all the way to the correctional officer, all the way to anybody that ever came in contact with him. It was something different about him that would lure you in and as far as a friendship with him, as far as respecting him, as far as, just, he has something, he almost had the Michael Jordan-esque, feel, meaning, that's Jordan. And it's not Jordan, it's just, he had an aura about him. You see what I'm saying? So that's what, so it wasn't so much I got a special thing for him. No, he had an aura about him, and he's a person I had probably the longest relationship with. So that's where that goes. But I just, for instance, I just spoke to a kid from Memphis, and the dude met him one time, but the dude sent me a picture because he got his license plates. It says Alpo. He's like, yo, I don't care what nobody say, man. After meeting that dude and seeing his aura and seeing he was nothing like what I thought, he touched me to the point that I went and got my license plates changed, to Alpo. Wow. I'll send it to you. You can post it. And I was like, man, I said, I respect that.
Wow, he
That's
must
just
have had
the type of dude he was.
He just met him one time and he changed his license plate to Alpo.
And he's a street dude. He a regular street dude, and he probably catching the flack for being why would you do that about a government foreman, a snitch, a rat, this, that. But his stance is so strong that, man, I don't care about all that, man. Dude was a good dude outside of that, and I'm a civilian within whatever he's done. I just happened to meet a really good dude and changed his license plates from the moment he died. So wow. That says a lot.
So I'm pretty sure he was getting love in jail and everything then. Because
oh yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask you, when you used to go visit him in jail, how was the visits? Did they was it hard to go visit him? Because I know he was like a high profile person. Was it hard to visit him and talk to him in jail?
No, it wasn't your normal process to get approved to go see him. But when it was a little different. It wasn't a hard process, depending on what prison he was in. First time I went to see him, he was on a real relaxed prison, which was Otisville, which was real relaxed. That's where everybody in the feds, if they ever want to go somewhere and they're doing time, they want to go to Otisville because it's real relaxed. And that's even for the witness protection side. So it wasn't a real, but I've been to prisons where it's real intense. It's like what you see on TV or what you expect, and where it's real intense. It's a process. They looking at you. They taking you through the rigorous road of trying to go visit them. I've been through those, but when I first saw him, it was a real relaxed process, and I put all that in the book.
Which was in Otisville, and
yes.
all that's in the book.
All that's in the book. All that's in the book.
And in the book, do you have the talks that he talked to you about when him talking with the feds and cooperating and?
Oh yeah. That whole journey is in the book. That whole journey about when he first sat down with them. You got to read. If people get a chance to go in there and read, you see how he was about to tell on some guys, and he didn't want to, and the positions they put him in, and just that whole process of becoming a whole government informant. It's for me, which I took that journey with him. It's still always I'm infatuated with reading it or hearing it. So somebody who's reading or hearing it for the first time, they'll really be like, yo, wow, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? So because it's a process that only the certain Americans and inmates have ever been through. You know what I'm saying? Like Sammy the Bull, certain people like that they're the only ones that ever been through that process.
Got you. So did he ever have any remorse? Like when he used to talk to you about snitching and cooperating, did he show any remorse? Like, did he feel bad for the people he snitched on, or did he was just like, I had to do what I had to do?
Oh yeah, like I've said before, he's very compartmentalized. So he didn't do too much reflecting on what has happened in the past. And I think that's how he was able to heal and move on and become a different person and become Albert. he didn't, if you ask him to talk about it, he'd get right into it, go into character, tell you about Alpo. And he always spoke about his stories in a third party. So it was kind of like me and him was watching a movie about Alpo as he would tell you his stories. Because he would be like, yeah, when Poe did that, you know what I'm saying?
Really? He don't say me, he says Poe.
Yeah, he said, when that person had to do that, or when Poe had to do that, he'll reference that here and there. So that's why I said, it was like, we can get some popcorn and then we can listen to the story about Alpo. And that's how he would tell it. And the whole visiting floor would be listening and would be ear hustling. The correction officers would be ear hustling because that's just how vivid he told the story. And he was disconnected from it. And what people are going to see in the docuseries that I'm going to put out, they're going to see how, he explains that he cried, he poured his heart out. He did everything that you needed to do to become a new person his 24 years in prison. Really? And he's being honest about that stuff in that video, which people will get to see. And so you don't think I'm making this up. You can hear him say it. Like, I cried every day in my cell. This is his words about everything I did, especially to certain people. You know what I'm saying? So that person that we know of was that person, but there just was also another side to him.
Got you. And he always talked about Alpo in third person.
It wasn't like every sentence, but he would reference it. He would reference during our conversations through the day, he would reference that character. You know what I'm saying? That character. And another thing that he said, and I forgot about, I should have wrote this in the book, that he used to say is that people are just mad out in the world. This is what he say from prison. People are mad because the character Alpo didn't live up to what they expectations was. Meaning he was supposed to go out in a blaze and be a stand-up man and go do life in prison or get the death penalty. And yeah, he would have had the glory of, that was the kid Alpo that did all of that and he got executed through the death penalty. Or he's sitting somewhere in a federal penitentiary under the ground, locked away. And he said, Troy, I wish I could have satisfied the world with that ending story. But right now, ain't nobody coming on this visit to see me. And right now, ain't nobody sending me no commissary. So what does that ending mean to me? So this is why I'm glad I made the decision that I made.
Wow.
You just made me think of this. I just thought of this. Yeah. Wow. And that was something that stood out to me that he said that. He's like, Troy, people just mad. And they're going to always be mad because I just didn't go out in a blaze of fire as that stand-up guy they thought I should have went out. And he said I had to use self-preservation and think about what was best for me. And that was always his word. I got to do what's best for me. Even though I know it's not right, I kill people for this, but I got to do what's best for me. And, I would, as anybody else, I would have to respect his decision. I'm not no judge and jury.
He was selfish at that moment, and he was being honest at how he was feeling at the moment. So you gotta respect it. He was being honest at how he felt.
Yeah. He never made no excuse about his decision. Never made no excuse about it. Never, it always was, I got to do what's best for me. And nobody doing this 24 years but me. Or nobody was going to sit in jail for the rest of their life but me. And through the years, he got to see and get comfortable with that decision because, I've been to a lot of penitentiaries and I've seen a lot of people on the visits and stuff like that. And that's a true saying. Everybody got to do what's best for them. Some people could go out with a blazing and never tell and be a stand-up guy and get life. And they got 10 people that's holding them down. And they're considered that legend. They consider that's that legend. But that might not work for everybody. So I just learned to, like I said, compartmentalize it. And that's the decision Alpo made for Alpo. Gotcha. Is it a decision I would make? I would never know until I'm in that situation. but I just learned to respect his decision.
You had to respect it because, like you said, nobody knows what they'll do unless they're in that position. People say, "I'll do this." You shouldn't have done this until you're in that position. You're right about that.
Yes.
And since you're in the docuseries mode, again, since Guy Fisher's home, are you gonna do something with Guy Fisher?
You know, with Guy, he got a lot going on, and he's doing a lot of things right now. So I'm just basically helping him navigate through whatever he got to do. You know what I'm saying? You know, he got a lot of stuff that's in pocket. You know, he's been in jail 39 years. He wrote not over 15 books. So, you know, he's already doing what he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, you know, is just to whatever he need me for to guide him through any kind of situation. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. So you here for him. You're not on him yet about any docuseries, any books, you're not working with him, nothing yet.
Well, no, we speak every day, but in reference to me, you know, he's just, you know, he got a lot going on, a lot of big things going on. So whatever he need me for, however he need me, you know, I'm right there for him. But Alpo was kind of like my last project. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I didn't even want to do, you know, the last footage that I had on him, because it was kind of like, you know, I'm in a different lane, I'm in a different space in life, you know, enjoying my life, doing what I'm doing. But I came out of retirement to go do this last project. So, you know, as far as the street stuff, so that's kind of like where I stand with it. Like, you know, I get calls and DMs and emails every day about different guys, but, you know, I'm always willing to help somebody, whatever journey they're going to take to try to highlight whatever they're trying to do. You can call me. I have no problem with that. But just me personally, you know, sometimes I like to be challenged. So I like to try to do different things.
Understandable. So this Alpo docuseries is your last one regarding the street aspect.
Yeah, just from an aspect of a subject. And then, you know, just also I probably will tell like my journey with Street Stars, you know, like how it started, the whole journey to kick down doors, to get it all the way to Warner Brothers, you know, sign a 10-year deal with them. All the people that I had the same kind of relationship, you know, like Alpo, and the journey and the, you know, because though I had an amazing journey with Alpo, I had an amazing journey with a number of different people. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just unfortunately he passed away or whatever. So it was kind of like the time to tell his story. Got you. And I guess you felt like you owed that to him too? Nah, it was, you know, it was like a goodbye letter. You understand what I'm saying? It's like a goodbye letter. It's kind of like, you know, a goodbye letter, but in the goodbye letter, I'm able to express who this person really was to me and to anybody else who he knew and came across his path. Not what somebody's making up about him, not what you hear, and not to exonerate him from nothing. Like I always would tell him, and I always would tell anybody, I can never make excuses for somebody that killed 14 people. There's no excuse I could ever make for him, nor would I ever defend that person. But I just wanted to tell my story and my journey with him, and it was like a goodbye letter. Respect. And you dealing with Alpo, did you lose a lot of friends from working with Alpo? Like close friends? Listen, he's a government foreman, so I know you probably have some street friends that feel a certain type of way. Did you lose any people working with him, or everybody understands? I mean, everybody understands. You know, people get it. Like, Troy, you're a journalist. You're a documentary. This is what you do. So I can't, you know, are you, for instance, you know what puzzles me is Sammy the Bull, right? I've been watching YouTube on Sammy the Bull, and I don't see nobody going hard at him. I don't hear the nobody going hard about him or at him. So, you know, this man is running a full-blown business now on YouTube, you know, on the internet now. You know, that's how comfortable he is with it. And I wish Poe would have did the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, Poe never had nobody step to him. Nobody. Come to him in person, call him on the phone, step to him and say, yeah, you's a rat. Now that you home, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Never. All internet. Yeah, all internet. You understand what I'm saying? Or whatever. So more so, once again, people respect that I'm just a storyteller. That's it. I'm just here to deliver. I'm no different than Oprah. I'm no different than, you know, an anchor person, you know, that's on the news. I'm just delivering a story. You can't be mad at the messenger. Can't. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I think people respect that. You know what I'm saying? And then once again, this is history. You know, these stories about Frank Lucas, you know, Nicky Barnes, Guy Fisher, all the stand-up guys, Pee Wee Kirkland, Dapper Dan. These people are pretty much like your urban Malcolm and Martin. Just
Urban
a different genre. Yeah, just urban legends, just a different genre, but they still a part of history. You see what I'm saying? So the outcome of these stories is not my position to be judge and jury. It's just my job to tell the story.
Respect. I had to ask you that.
Yeah.
Out of all your docuseries, which was most special to you? I would think Game Over, but you probably say something else. Out of all your docuseries, which was most special to you?
No, Game Over was like, you know, a really good one. You know what I'm saying? Like it was the one that set it off. But I mean, I think they all was good to me because, you know, but as far as like the details to put the story together was Scarface for Life. You know what I'm saying? That was because I didn't have no subject, no topic, no reason. I just said, I'm gonna document all these brothers from my neighborhood and I'm gonna give them the opportunity to tell their story.
That was a classic.
Yeah, so that was a good one. Carl Hines is a good one from a sports perspective. Carl Hines' story was a really good one to me. You know, I always wish that he would get on 30 for 30. Somebody do his 30 for 30. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, all of them was good. All of them was, you know, was something that, you know, because it took a lot of work to do those. So I wouldn't, you know, it took months. And like I said, I respect like the platforms today. I love it. You know, it's Black media at its best. And I keep telling everybody that, but it's a little easier. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, where what I was doing took months, like Cocaine Cowboy. And I remember when they was filming that and those documentaries took $800,000 and they took 2 and 3 years to do. You know what I'm saying? I was up against those guys spending $20,000 and trying to do them in 8 months. You see what I'm saying? So that was a lot of work going into those documentaries and a hell of a journey to do them.
Was it hard to do Scarface for Life? Because I see you had like a lot of people's different aspects of Rikers Island in there. So was it hard to get everybody to tell the story for that one? Because that's like a classic right there. That's like a hood classic right there, Scarface for Life.
No, that one was good to me because it's like I had to take 10 or 15 people, however many was in it, and make them tell one big story. You see what I'm saying? So that was like the highlight of it. That's when I was building my skill. Because that was like, yo, all right, how do you take, none of them was locked up together. And it was locked up at different times, but how do you take 15 people to tell the same story? So that's where like I started building skill and I started getting into the craft of what I was doing. And then I had to make it move. And so that's why I said that was probably one of my most creative documentaries. Got
you. Definitely remember that one.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, do you have any projects that you're working on besides this Alpo book and Alpo docuseries coming out? Do you have any projects in the future that you're working on that you could talk about?
Right now, you know, I can't tell you, you'll see it, you know what I'm saying? But I did, you know, stepping out there and dealing with all the brothers that got their platforms like yourself. And I discovered a whole new world. You know what I'm saying? I'll just be totally honest. Like, I discovered a whole new world where I'm like, okay, all right, I got something. You know what I'm saying? I got something. And like I said, I want to challenge myself and I want to do new things and something different. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys, YouTube got the gangster culture covered right now. You know what I'm saying? YouTube got it covered. You know, so it's no need to do that. You know, so my thing is kind of like, okay, let's try something new. Let's do something new. You know what I'm saying? And just happen to connecting with all you know, the guys with platforms and kicking it with everybody and some people sitting down, you know, much love to, I tell nobody, don't get mad at nobody else with a platform, man. Like come together, you understand what I'm saying? And do what y'all doing, man. Keep the love there because you guys are like outside of the box from corporate America. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think, you know, I hope, you know, everybody comes to understand the power that they wielding. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm just impressed with the platforms, and it's kind of like, I'm inspired to try to do something new now. So you will see that coming in the next few months.
I'm thinking, if I could guess, I'm thinking you're about to start a podcast.
Nah, you guys got that covered. You know what I'm saying? You guys.
Nah, but I'm saying you probably gonna do it on a different scale though. I'm thinking. I'm gonna watch you though. I'm watching.
Yes.
But thank you for stopping by the show.
Yes.
Everybody go buy that book. I'm still waiting for the book to come in the mail. I ordered it already. Check out the book. Check out for Troy Reed. He's definitely. Nobody gonna say he's definitely an urban legend, because when I was a kid, that's all I used to watch was his Street Stars videos. Like you said, Scarface for Life, Game, all that was what I grew up watching. So he's definitely in my books an urban legend, Troy Reed. So I gotta give you your flowers and thank you for stopping by the platform.
Yes, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience too, my brother. Consistency and don't never let pride and none of that get in the way. Do exactly what you do and how you do it. Stay consistent, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And
yes,
you want to tell people your social media, anything before we got here? Your YouTube, Instagram.
Oh yeah, definitely. Make sure you go on Troy Reed Official at Instagram, and there you can buy the book from me directly. You know what I'm saying? If you want a signed version in your name, your copy, just hit the Cash App, send it out. And with the Cash App, what I do is I allow people to have like 5 or 10 minutes with me, and just ask me any question they want to ask me. Talk about whatever they want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So you can do that. Like I said, just hit the Cash App. You'll get your book, signed by me directly with your name. And at the same time, I'll send you my number. We get to talk for like, 5 or 10 minutes. And it's funny because I've been having amazing conversations with people from across the country that, once again, I wish Alpo would have knew this. And not only Alpo, let me say this. Any dudes that's sitting home that did that 25 years, that got a story, that's a stand-up dude or a government informant, I don't know and I don't care. But if you got a story, man, get out there and get on that social media and start telling it, because there's somebody that knows you that you don't think know you, and there's some people that's interested that you don't think is interested. And I've really been getting to see and have conversations with people that ask me some of the most amazing questions, and have conversations with them that's like, wow. I don't think Alpo understood the love he had across this country and in the UK. You know what I'm saying? So that's how big this street thing is spreading or whatever. So, like I said, go to Troy Reed Official, get your book directly from me, or you can go to Amazon and get it as well on Amazon.com. I Never Met Alpo.
There you go, people. Go get that book. And he got a docuseries coming out. So if you don't read like that, which I advise you to, you can see the visual when the docuseries comes out. And he got some exclusives on there too. So once again, thank you for stopping by the show. And we out of here.